My name is Keila. I'm 32 years old. I am originally from Los Angeles, California. My family is from Mexico, Veracruz, and Guerrero. How I feel about Latinx community's representation, complicated. Um, I'm glad that it's a lot more mainstreamed and talked about, but there's the complicated feeling of we're only wanted when it's entertainment, when it's something where others can take from and not really just as we are. And the multiple identities and the differences within our community, we are still generalized. So I'm glad for us being more of a conversation, a lot more like our needs and our cultures being talked about a lot more, and people are understanding a lot more that we are very, very widespread. We're multifaceted. We are not just one single identity, but at the same time, it still comes with that price of what we have to offer, what they can take from us. And that's the part where I'm kind of like, sucks. I'm from the 90s. I grew up in Los Angeles. And so there was a lot of, I grew up in a heavily Latino community, especially the Mexican community in Los Angeles. So there was a lot I grew up with my people, but at the same time, I didn't see anything outside of the struggle. It was always collective effort, a lot of mutual aid, a lot of relying on the churches and social services to survive. And I never really got to witness my people of my community thrive except celebrities. And there was just a huge distance between just, can I just see somebody, an everyday person, just be thriving and not just surviving all the time? And just never really saw that. I'm going to tap into the colorism. Being darker, being more India looking, like you really didn't see that, especially going into teenage years and stuff. I even literally got told once, "You're cute, but you're too dark." And I was like, what does that mean? So there's this idea that you're okay. And that affects that self-esteem. That does affect, the things like I can't wear those colors, I can't wear that clothes as the body changes and stuff. And nowadays you see a lot more acceptance and like not only that, just not acceptance of others, but acceptance of self. Where the self is like, I don't, what if I'm darker? What if I have gap teeth? What if I have frizzy hair or curly hair? Like, there's a lot more of that. I remember the nonstop curling, like straightening. I remember straightening my hair and being late to school, but God forbid somebody would see me with a wave. And nowadays, especially in the last 5 years, I've been in a journey of embracing my natural hair, and it's really nice to see it also like in social media and out and about. Like it's really nice to see that I'm not the only one. Body standards in the Latinx community. I think because mentally that's where I am, the postpartum body, the whole like the bounce back culture and the whole like you tienes que ponerte faja, you gotta put on a faja, you gotta put on like, tighten it up, make sure, put it in. Or like, oh, if you breastfeed, you're gonna drop it all off. Or, oh, look at her, she had two kids. Y no parece nada, like nothing looks like, looks like she didn't have kids. Like this praise for your body not showing like nothing ever happened. And it's like, oh, that was heavy stuff. And you want me to, and it goes, and I could go on a rant about Marianismo and this whole thing of us being, mitigating ourselves and like lowering our light and lowering our, like any of our like struggles and trauma down. Because if we voice out and share out anything, it's like, well, this isn't about you, your family's first, your husband's first. And like, you have to like, because, and also is attached to us being collective, a collective culture, but at the same time, it's the whole like you can't speak up of your struggle, postpartum depression, like or postpartum anxiety, and like understanding that like, oh my gosh, like nothing fits anymore. I can't wear this anymore. Or I used to laugh and not be scared of laughing. And so that's where I see where a lot of those colonialist practices have really affected the way we judge each other and our changing bodies. I'm not meant to have the same body I had when I was 15. That's ridiculous. who does that? A change I'd like to see with representation in the Latinx community would be a change within ourselves, the self-deprecating practice that we have in ourselves. And I, some can say it fuels our work ethic, but I think we can have the work ethic we're known for without being so self-deprecating, because it has generational consequences. It's great that we're getting a lot more recognition mainstream, I'm a Benito fan, so yeah, I love all of that, but at the same time it's like we can't treat ourselves like a fad, because then that's how everybody's going to treat us, as a fad. And then, who knows, maybe country's the next big, music genre, and then what's left with us? What we're still left with those practices that hurts the next generation and the next generation. And it's not fair that we have to go through intense therapy um to be able to come to terms with, like, oh, I was hurt by people who are hurt. And then you think about the systemic issues that cause it. So, a huge change, and I know it's far off, but I think within the community that I would love to see that. What I love about the Latinx community, I love our collectivist culture. I love that when somebody needs something, it's like, what do you need? What do you need? The examples were from my abuelitas. Like, it was, we were hella poor. Living in a garage, the whole family living in there. We had no business extending charity to anybody, but yet that never stopped her. And that's something that she did for others no matter what, even to her dying days. Like, she always would slide you $1 or two. If, nowadays it does nothing, but in the time it was, you could buy yourself a bag of chips or something. Like, it just, in her heart, it was that. And the abuelitas passed that on. And I see it even in today's world, like with my students. Like, I work with a lot of Latinx students, and I still see it, where it's like, if somebody needs something, it's not even like, no, these are my things. It's like, no, here. There's no hesitation. And I love that, and I want to pass that on to my son. Uh it's been a long road. It's been a long road, and um a lot of the criticisms that you hear as a young kid, and before even hitting puberty, and by the time you hit puberty, like, you're just intensely criticizing yourself. And then 10 years later, it's like, dang, I wish I would have loved that about myself then. And now at 30, I'm like, dang, I miss my 20-year-old body. And so now, where I am in life, postpartum, a year postpartum, actually. Yeah, next week I'm a year postpartum. And it takes a minute, especially realizing that I'm not a certain size, or certain things don't fit a certain way. Um, but now what I'm loving is that my body gave life. And not only that, it's like, she's still here. Like, with or without baby, this body's mine. And she's here kicking it with me. And it's like, why? But she's here with me, and I gotta love her back.